So my XRP friends out there, welcome to a new XRP update video. It's Friday, which means it's time once again to take a close look at the XRP chart. Unfortunately, we still haven't managed to break out of our yellow, or rather our huge falling wedge. We may have already completed our ABCDE correction, and that's been the case for quite some time now. And now, as I mentioned earlier this morning in another video, XRP really has its last chance to prove itself here. Why, how, and for what reason? That's exactly what we'll be taking a closer look at in today's update video. If you're enjoying all of this, I'd really appreciate it if you could give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and write your XRP price prediction in the comments below. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish, just drop it in the comments. Also, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group, where you'll always find the latest information whenever there's something new or when I introduce new trading bots, for example. For example. So let's get into it. As I said, XRP hasn't managed to break above our yellow trend line. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wicks above this liquidity zone again and again. We still haven't managed to break through this area. We got rejected and the price went back down. Not really a good sign. Still, as you can see here, XRP is currently in the buy zone, and that could work out very, very well. As I said, we initially had a long position open down here, which we took up to here. This was our old buy zone, which I've now grayed out, and I've set a new buy zone. That means we are currently in the middle of a new liquidity zone, which is now also very, very crucial for XRP. Why is this so crucial? As I said, we had our ABCDE correction with lower lows, and now after this upward move, which wasn't enough for a higher high at this point, we at least want to see a higher low so that we can say, okay, this might now be our chance for a bottom in XRP. Because if that's the case here, then in the next few days, we need to at least get above $2.87 in order to break out impulsively to the upside. Because what was also missing in this move up here, or what was lacking to the upside, was that we didn't have any volume. We had zero, absolutely no volume in there at the moment, so it just looks like a breakout. And if this support is also lost here at this point, then I'm really starting to see things in a negative light, and we'll have to look for lower price levels. If we take a quick look at the risk from the entry position to a new lower low, it would be 6%. In my opinion, that's a lot, really a lot. With a 3 times or 5 times leverage, we'd be down between 18 and 30% on the position. That's a lot, really a lot. As I said, because as mentioned, if you want to make a swing position out of this, you could theoretically also consider setting it down here below $2.25 and let a bot handle it. That would also be an option. You can do all of that, as I said, for free on Pionex. If you invest $500, you get 300 USDT as a bonus. You can then, for example, use them for an XRP trade. You'll find the link for that below in the video description, and then just let it run for free. As I said, if you're more of a trader, you can basically use this setup here with the stop just below the last wick. That would put us at roughly 3% risk at this point. As I mentioned, I still actually have hope for the entire altcoin market right now. But, and I also said this in the video this morning, if it's going to happen, it has to happen now. Because when else is this whole move supposed to happen? We're sitting right at support everywhere. We've really flushed everything out of the market. Let's take a quick look at the funding rates for XRP to see if they give us any more insight. But we're at support everywhere and we have negative funding across the board. XRP is also in an absolutely normal, even partly below average range. Don't let yourself be guided by red numbers. They've been much higher at this point before, and with XRP, there really isn't much movement. So if anything, XRP really needs to break out of this zone impulsively to the upside now. Whether that's due to news or something else doesn't matter at all. It's completely irrelevant. But we can also see by now that projects like Chainlink and Ondo in the real-world asset sector are doing significantly more. And with XRP at the moment, things have gotten pretty quiet here, really quiet. There aren't any real developments, even if everyone tells you, yeah, there's something new with XRP every day. No. Unfortunately, that's not the case. There just aren't that many XRP news items that are extremely bullish, and if there are, it's usually just nonsense, to be honest. You know my target zone. If we finally manage to break out upwards here, as I said, let's quickly pull up the fib level from our low. Then in any case, around $3.30 would still be the first target zone, and after that, $3.40 to $3.50. Let's look at the whole pattern according to Elliott waves. That means at the moment we still have the chance here. I would now set a stop loss below $2.74 so that this here would be a wave 1. That was this upward movement, and wave 2 is the current movement that we've just completed at this point. That would mean here too, the targets roughly range between $3.47 and $3.55. That would actually be the first Elliott wave support zone, but we will only know that in advance then. I'll leave this zone here for now because the overarching golden pocket is still within it. The second season fits as well, and we can even move the third one down a bit if it really plays out like this to around $3. $2, well, $3.88 up to as high as $4.32. Of course, you could make this even more precise, but as I said, I prefer to leave a bit more room because we know that when XRP goes wild, the whole thing can really take off. But as I said, it's simply still too early for that at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how the whole thing ultimately plays out, or if it even does play out at all at this point. We'll see that in the coming weeks. I certainly hope so. As I said, in my opinion, the altcoins still have plenty of potential to move up. If it's going to happen, it has to happen now. We're in a bullish phase with Bitcoin. We've had a new all-time high with Bitcoin. In my opinion, this is currently the opportunity that should be taken advantage of. As I said, if you're not in altcoins yet, you should take a very close look at the prices. No financial advice, by the way. But as I said, there are, or there may be, very, very good opportunities right now, provided Bitcoin continues to hold. All right, that's it from me. Otherwise, I'd say that's all from my side. Thank you for watching. Many, many thanks, of course. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, write a comment below, and otherwise we'll hear from each other again next week for the next XRP video and in the coming days for a new Bitcoin or crypto update video. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay crypto.